Hala YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI Rakakutash, which we're saying all praises to Yahawah BaHashem Yahawashi. We want to give our utmost respect, admiration to the diligence of the apostles who have been bringing out the accuracy as which was given to them at the level it was for decades. And the apostles, Great Millstone, have been doing that. All of us who are in the truth want to follow those that are accurate in bringing out the truth in the word and the scriptures. There is so much to still learn and so much to absorb and go through at this time when Yahawah BaHashem Yahawashi is taking us through the paces in the process of prophecy. If you're not dealing within the confines of the truth in the word that brings forth the revelation of prophecy, then you are inaccurate and you are in error. So we want to definitely give our utmost thanks for the diligence that the Apostle Great Millstone had brought out. I wanted to get that out because they deserve it. This is your brother Obadiah Yahweh Canaan coming back at you. Of course, you know when I come out, the Most High Yahawah BaHashem Yahawashi brings me out with a word of teaching and a word of wisdom. And once he gets a hold of me and brings it forth, it's going to be whatever it's going to be. That's all I can tell you. We got a good one, a very good one today. It's a little bit of a rarity to some degree, but not completely, but to a degree, because we're going to get in a book here. We're going to get into the Apocrypha. We're going to get into 2nd Ezra, and we're going to edify Yasharallah in a way where we're going to feed the sheep some very rich food when it comes to the word. Not saying that the food that is being brought out by the Akim is not rich in its favor to bring forth the edification and exhortation to Yahawah BaHashem Yahawashi, because it is. Everything that you bring out, if Yahawah BaHashem Yahawashi is in favor of letting you bring it out, is going to be something that I believe, if it is truly led through the Spirit, through the Ruach HaKodesh, that it will bring forth the fruit that is necessary to feed the sheep. This is going to be a rich meal today, and it's going to be a teaching meal. So you're going to need to get your Apocrypha out for this one. If you don't have one, you need to look it up on your device, whether you're using a phone or a tablet or whatever, what have you. You want to look up your Apocrypha, okay? And because we're going to get into some things that I believe are going to enlighten us in areas that we probably don't touch so deeply, but we need to, because as I said before, we're dealing in a measure where the Most High, the way he operates is he controls all sides of the spectrum. He controls all sides of the board. And similitudes are important, okay? And we need to know about how they operate and what the measure is. We need to know what the meaning of similitude is in the Bible, and we need to go there, you know, and get what we need from that perspective, because it's important. Now, you know, a similitude for the most part is a way of bringing forth information that can transpire in sort of a, if I can say it this way, it's an example of what is to come, but it can be parabolic at some point, and sometimes it can be literal, and sometimes it can be a combination in terms of what the similitude is. And normally that's what we we try to look forward to in terms of bringing you information through the language and through the scriptures and through the truth. We want to understand how that operates. Now, the title of this lesson that Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI gave me is Occupy Until I Come, or Occupy Until Yahawashi comes, right? And part of the thing that we need to express and talk about here in the commentary is we're going to reference the fact that we want to understand, can we operate within the right spiritual and scriptural framework of the similitudes given by the image of the voice? Okay, I'll say it again. Can we operate within the similitudes given by the image of the voice? And we're going to break that down in 2nd Ezra, because we're going to be in 2nd Ezra today, where we're going to do the teaching. And the 2nd Ezra, we're going to touch chapter 3 and the beginning a little bit, and then we're going to raise to chapter 5, and we're going to get a whole lot of it. So we're going to try to get all this in. It's going to be quite lengthy, but it's going to be quite fruitful in terms of the information that's going to be passed in terms of a teaching. This is not an entertainment, okay? I'm not here for your entertainment. If you wish to be entertained, then you're going to have to go to another channel and look for all the famous frills and spills and graphics and all the stuff that, you know, excites you with all the sounds and everything else that's going on. I'm not doing that here. That's not the nature of what we're doing, okay? So if that's what you're looking for, it ain't going to happen, okay? We're here to give you know, a sacrifice of praise to the Most High, and we're going to give the sacrifice of praise through, of course, His truth and His word. So we just got to get ready for that. So you want to get your Apocrypha out, and we're going to get into this, because we're going to talk about how we're supposed to be occupying before Yahawashi gets here. Now, I'm going to say this because I need to bring this out. My Achaim brother in Yasharallah, they speak strongly in terms of the things that are occurring in this point in time in prophecy. Everything that Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI has already ordained and predestined and preordained is in the prophecies of His truth and His word. And it will happen no matter what we say or no matter what our particular understanding is. It's going to happen the way Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI brought it down and is putting it down and has already put it down. It's not about us. It's not about what we say in general. It's what the Ruach HaKodesh is saying through men of the Lord, so to speak, if we are blessed and graced to be in that favor, you know, and then bring this truth the way we can. But He controls all things. Nobody has any power, no angel, no one, no prophet, no apostle, no elder, no bishop. No one has any power but Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. And you got to keep understanding this. You got to get this drilled into your mindset, that all of the things that are happening, all of the MOTB stuff, all of the juice that's being pushed and pushed out, the Most High is doing this. It's not Esau doing it. He's doing it through Esau, but it is the Most High that is doing this. You have to get this focus. You got to get your mind around this. I know that my brethren, my Achaim brethren, though oh blessed as blessed, and oh blessed they are in terms of their truth, in terms of what they bring out. But sometimes they don't do what I think is important, which is to do your disclaimer and give the Most High His credit. He is that Asharah, you know, that can bring out, you know, El Shaddai. He's that El Shaddai. He is that demon-like power. He does all parts of this situation. If there's going to be a famine, if there's going to be a supply chain that's going to go down and not be able to provide, if there's going to be those that will not have food and those that will have food, if there's going to be those that will survive and those that won't survive, He's doing it all sides. He plays both sides of the chessboard. He's playing the left, the right. He's got it all. You've got to make sure that you disclaim the fact that everything that's being done is being done by Yahawah. by Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi. It's not something that an entity that he created in any fact, shape, form, or fashion has power to do outside of his control. There's nothing that can operate under some additional power that's not under the Most High's control. If you're going to experience anything that's going on, all this is scriptural. The brethren bring you scriptures on this all the time. And we need to be careful to make sure we back up saying the fact that the Most High is doing this all the time. So if you talk about something that's getting ready to befall the people of this entire earthly plane, the heathens, as well as the Israelites, as well as the 144,000 of the elect, the very elect, to the 1/3 of the elect, to the 2/3 of those that of Israel that have to be put down on this side. The Most High already predestined all this to happen. It's going to happen the way he said. It's not going to be something that you get a chance to try to expound on as though there's some power that's out here operating in a rogue fashion. It's not going down like that. He's doing all of it. He controls every single portion of his creation. Nothing is beyond his power. His power can do anything he wants to do in any way. He can bring back every entity he created and bring it right back in existence without our help. He doesn't need our help to bring anyone back. He doesn't need our help to take someone down or to bring someone up. Okay, perfect example. Just a quick little synopsis. Yahawashi, when he came and he died on the cross, once his flesh body that the Most High created and was laid in the tomb, in the 3 days that the flesh was there, that flesh was corrupted. It had to go through corruption. But what did the Most High do? Who raised Yahawashi? He didn't raise himself. The Most High raised him. He raised him in let's just say 3 different levels of regeneration, okay, or reincarnation, if you want to call it. The both are the same, okay. He raised up that spirit. He took that spirit and he did what Yahweh decided to do with it. You don't know, I don't know, but he decided to do what he wanted to do with it. He also transfigured the body to a degree where he allowed the body to go through some phases. At some point, the body was at a point where you could touch it when it came back. In other words, because doubting Thomas didn't believe. So he wanted to put his hand in the wound in the side. He wanted to touch the holes in the hand. Okay, so that means Yahawashi's body had to be of a physical content and matter in terms of being able to experience that part of the physicality of his resurrection. So there was a point where that corruptible body that was flesh that was starting to decompose over the 3 days it was in that tomb, it was changed to a degree. So there was a reincarnation or a regeneration process that was done there. Okay, he didn't need anybody's help to do that. Yahweh did that. Okay, he at one point Yahawashi went 40 miles away, then he came back. Okay, when he did come back, they didn't recognize who he was. At some point, he actually went through the wall. So he had what kind of body or what kind of transition was he in where he could pass through the wall? So therefore, it couldn't have been the flesh body completely as we know it, as we're in this time, because you can't walk through a wall. Okay. Then after that point in time, it was a point where they gave him something to eat. So then there was also a portion where he had something that he consumed in that body. So what levels of regeneration was that body going through, that Yahweh was taking it through? And then at the point where he was to descend back to heaven, he had told them, don't touch me, but not touch me like in you can't touch me, because he had already been touched by Thomas and various others who were feeding him and talking to him. He was saying, don't hold me up. I'm getting back to my Father. In other words, don't ask me no more questions. Like within, we're going to go in the second Ezra, and it's going to talk about the fact that where Ezra's asking questions of the Most High, of Yahawashi, and also the angel of Yahawashi, of Yahweh is going to speak to him and give him answers, and some answers he'll tell him, no, you don't get no answers for that. So the thing is, I'm saying to you, when this whole period of time, this prophetical period of time is over, when all the prophecies have been fulfilled, none of the stuff that's in this wicked system here can go into a holy state where the Most High Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI is. It's not going to transition over because we don't need it. There's nothing that was in this fallen state that we're going to need in the new kingdom. We're not going to need anything in this fallen state in the new kingdom. Okay, because the Most High is going to make everything go back to the way it was in the beginning. You know, when there was no sin and there was nothing that could corrupt anymore. So any of your wishes, aspirations, or whatever you're thinking about that you have now in this period here, it's got to be cleaned up because it can't be in the present. I mean, you can't. The Most High Yahweh is so holy that when his essence goes by, you can't even be in the presence of his essence without being in a righteous state. So there's nothing from a fallen state that can transition in, because he's not going to clean up the mess that's here and then say, oh, well, I'm gonna go ahead and let you have it there. Okay, let me clean this up and let you do it there. Okay, let me clean up some of Esau's wicked activity when I programmed him to do this wicked stuff, and then you can do it there in the new covenant. It talks about making a man more precious than Ophir, gold, than more refined. So when you're that precious in gold and Ophir, when you're that refined, when you're that renewed, when you're in that new supernatural power the Most High puts in his men of Israel and his women of Israel, they come together, they become perfect. They're soulmates. Adam and Eve were soulmates. He took Eve from Adam, right? He took her out of his flesh, his bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. Once he breathed life into Adam, Adam became a living soul. So he took that woman that he made for him out of his soul. That's a soulmate. Soulmate, not soulmates, soulmate, okay? There was other females in the garden prior to, with all these other nations that Adam saw them when they were amongst these other nations that were there, because there were other trees in the garden. He said the trees in the midst of the garden, you know, you don't go near it, mess with that, leave that alone, it's wicked for a reason. But there were other nations in the garden, he said, that you could talk to and deal with. They had women there too, but he didn't want those women. Why did he not want those women? At the time when he was not in a fallen state, he didn't want them. He said, no, I'm not interested in that. So the Most High made a soulmate specifically for him. Okay, that's what the Bible says. You got a problem with that, you take it up with Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, because that's the way it lays down. Now once, of course, he fell and the seed of sin got in his spirit, and then he and his woman fell, then all the rest of this mess done started down here. And everything that's going down here is a mess, because Yahweh had it that way, and that's the way he wanted it, that's the way he planned it, that's his prophecy, and he already preordained it would happen, because he does the end from the beginning and the beginning from the end. He's already done that. No one else can do it but Yahweh. He did it through Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. So let's not get that twisted. That's enough on this part of the commentary to break out in this, but you got to go ahead and start doing some research. I've been doing a lot of studying in this book of the Apocrypha and going out and trying to find stuff that they've been hiding, additional precepts and scriptures that are there, that were there in the Apocrypha, now that you accept the Apocrypha, because before at one point you wouldn't even accept it. You were told there was only 66 books and you left and you stayed with that. But now that you know that those 14 books have been added, there's some precepts and some scriptures that have been still hidden from you. So you got to go and do your diligence. That's why the scripture says, study to show thyself approved, a workman that can rightly divide the word of truth. Now, if you can rightly divide it, you can wrongly divide it. And being wrong sometimes means you just don't have enough information and you haven't done due diligence to go study. The apostles always tell you, you need to go study. You always got to study. You got to go dig for the information in the truth. Don't go tripping on other stuff that ain't got nothing to do with the truth, but you deal in the truth, okay? And we're going to start getting into this, okay? And we're going to start breaking it down. Let me get my glasses here a little bit. And we're going to chop it up and get into it. Like I said, I'm in the book of Ezra, second Ezra, second Ezra. And we're going to go in here and we're going to start breaking this down. Now, where I want to start is I'm going to start in chapter 3. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and start at the top of chapter 3 in verse 1. And then I'm going to read, and then I'm going to pop onto some of the other chapters that I got to pull my lesson together about occupying until Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi comes, because we have to operate within the similitudes given the image of the voice, through the image of the voice, by the image of the voice, okay? All right, verse 1. Got your apocrypha out. 2nd Ezra, chapter 3, starting at verse 1. In the 13th year after the ruin of the city, I was in Babylon, and I lay troubled upon my bed. Thy thoughts came up over my heart, okay? For I saw the desolation of Zion, and the wealth of them that dwelt in Babylon. And this is very much akin to what's going on right now. So you got to understand, this is prelude to leading up to what we're dealing with as far as what Yahweh's plan has already planned for us at this point in time, going into the final phase of prophecy, okay? All right. And my spirit was sore moved, so that I began to speak words full of fear to the Most High. See, you hear a lot of things similar to that actually going down in terms of the way some of the Yasharal is bringing out some of the conversation about what befalls us as prophecy moves forward. Like in reference to talking about what kind of devices and what kind of activities are being done through pseudoscience, and what kind of things are being perpetrated through enchantments and things of that nature. And it kind of puts a lot of people in fear, because I remember Elder Yashawamba, when I was listening to a lesson he talked about the fact that the fear factor is very high right now in terms of how they wish to push agendas that the Most High is bringing forward. Clearly, he tells you that the Most High is in control of this, and he's bringing these things to pass. But those that are not in the truth and not in the knowledge of the truth don't understand, and they are in fear because they don't know Yahweh and know why they're going through the things they're going through. Okay, moving forward. Okay, all right, don't want to hold on. All right. And it says, and my spirit was sore moved, so that I began to speak words full of fear to the Most High, and said, O Lord, right, who bearest rule, thou speakest at the beginning. Okay, so from the beginning to the end, he's done this already. When thou didst plant the earth, and that thyself alone, right, and commanded the people. So Yahawashi obviously is in control by the Father to do this work that had been done. Okay, and gave us, okay, Shalaki. O Lord, bearest rule, thou speakest at the beginning, when thou didst plant the earth, and that thyself alone, and commanded the people, and gavest the body unto Adam without soul. See, so this was without the soul, right? Which was the workmanship of thine hands, and didst breathe into him the breath of life, and he became a living soul before thee. See, right there, that's what I'm saying. Soulmate issue, or he's a soul. That's what we tie that together with when he made Eve and took Eve from Adam out of his soul, right? The metabolism that he built Eve. Okay, so that's the soulmate connection, right? And thou leadest him into paradise, which thy right hand had planted before ever the earth came forward. So he was leading him into paradise before the earth came forward. And in terms of translating that means that he was already in the truth. He was already in the righteousness of Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi. And at that particular point in time, he was about to be put in the garden, in the Garden of Eden. You can read that also when you go to Genesis to talk about he made Adam, and then he took the man and he put him in the Garden of Eden. So where was he prior to being put in the Garden of Eden? So, I just want to let you know the paradise, right? Which thy right hand had planted before ever the earth came forward. And unto him thou gavest commandment to love thy way, which he transgressed. Now, I'm not going to walk past that because that's important. See, that people used to say, well, there was no law prior to Adam. That's wrong. He said here, he just gave him commandment. So if he gave him commandment, then what are you saying? That is clearly telling you right there that that's the law, okay? And plus he's told him, don't do something. Don't touch, deal with, communicate with those in the midst of the garden. That's the law. See, that's the law being laid down, right? To love thy way. In other words, to love his way means to follow commandments. What does the word say? If you love the Father, you keep his commandments. You do his commandments. Which he transgressed, and immediately thou appointed death in him and his generations, of whom came nations, tribes, people, kindreds, out of number. See, so you can see right there off the bat, there was a situation, right, where at that particular point in time, now Adam became fallen. Okay, now we got a fallen situation that's going on with Adam, right? You can see that that's the case, right? He saw death, and he became of a fallen state, right? With his this is not excluding Eve, but she was in the picture during this time when the state of fallen became the case. Okay, and every people walked after their own will and did wonderful things before thee, and despised thy commandments. Wonderful things can be also wonderfully wicked as well as wonderfully righteous. Okay, so let's not look past the fact that he's saying wonderful things. It doesn't exclude the things that are not righteous to the Most High. Okay, and again, in process of time, thou broughtest the flood upon those that dwelt in the world and destroyed them. Okay, because that was the first destruction, which comes. The next one is what, as all the apostles say, we coming with nuclear fire, which the Bible says nuclear fire coming from the missiles that come to the areas that the Most High plans to take out, based on the fact that he prophetically named these nations in Psalms 83 that did the things to his chosen people. They all have to pay wherever they are. It doesn't matter. Okay. All right. All right. 10. And it came to pass in every of them that as death was to Adam, so was the flood to these. Nevertheless, one of them thou left, namely Noah, in his household, of whom came all righteous men. And we liken ourselves and pray and praise the Most High, and like to think that Noah's seed brought forth some of the men of Yasharallah in the awakening that the Most High predestined to move forward to do what they're doing today in terms of bringing out the truth and the word, so that this system can be over with and the new righteous system can come online. Okay. All right. 12. And it happened that when they that dwelt upon the earth began to multiply and had gotten them many children and were a great people, they began again to be more ungodly than the first. You know, wickedness multiplied in the earth. That was in Maccabees when, you know, Alexander and his 4 generals, you know, Seleucus and Ptolemy, and, you know, and I don't have to name all. You should do some studying to know them, you know, but my point is, it said that wickedness would multiply in the earth during that time, after that particular conquering of that area, right? Okay. And he had gotten them many children and were a great people, and they began to be more ungodly than the first. Now when they lived so wickedly before thee, thou didst choose thee a man from among them whose name was Abraham. Okay. All right. So you can see how the Most High's plan is consistent across all of the volume of the book. That's why Yahawashi says, I come in the volume of the book. It is written of me. Okay. And madest an everlasting covenant with him. This is with Abraham, right? He said, him thou lovest, and unto him only thou showedest thy will. So he only showed it to him. He didn't show it to the rest of the nations, only to him. Just like with Adam in the beginning, he only showed him the commandments and only gave him the righteousness in the paradise area. And then, of course, after the fall, the availability of this information became apparent to the rest of the nations. That's why they couldn't wait for the fall to happen, because once it did happen, you know, they got all of what we were supposed to be in control of, and then they twisted it up and then tried to sell it back to us, which they've done a job on most of the religious practitioners in that fashion. And that's the way it still stands, because that was the Most High's plan, to filter out. If you've got things you do not understand in this truth and have not been revealed to you, and scriptures and precepts that you have not found or understood, then if, as we know, Esau is in a position where he has been elected in his wickedness to be able to propagate and bring out the documentation and literature in terms of the fashion as we have learned, are learning it and subscribing and transcribing it through the books that have been made available through Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi. And you know that he is bringing forth his definitions in his pseudo way. Okay, so a lot of times, you know, you have the brethren that break down words to give you a definition of understanding in the language of your captivity of what a specific word means through the scripture. You know, we're not trying to say Esau is validating the truth in the word. What we're saying is you have to get an understanding when the Spirit will speak to your mind and get your heart, the heart of your mind, the mind of your heart, to understand the scripture and move forward in righteousness, if you can. But we know that he uses and allows Esau to have the measure and the information to present. Now, so we got to be real careful, because we use all a lot of the resources that are filtering through Esau, but you have to filter through what he's sending to get the truth, because sometimes words don't always bring you exactly the right definition of truth. And a lot of times in some of my Bibles that I study with, like for instance, I've got a Bible here, and it's a very old one. This is my New Oxford Annotated Bible with the Apocrypha, and it's a 1926 edition. See, let me show you that one there. See that? But Esau put stuff in here and translations and information in here that could screw you up if you don't know certain meanings of certain words. And that's why the brethren break out the words and try to give you definitions. But they're giving you definitions that Esau has printed and derived through his misunderstanding, a lot of times more than just the understanding. So you got to filter through that. And that's what's happening. The Most High is filtering through those who don't know and get the proper understanding of the truth as it's translated in the breakdown through the scriptures. Okay, not digress, I'm sorry. Shalaki. Okay, all right. all right. 15. And madest an everlasting covenant with him, promising him that thou wouldest never forsake his seed. And unto him thou gavest Isaac, and unto Isaac also thou gavest Jacob and Esau. As for Jacob, thou didst choose him to thee. In other words, the Most High chose Jacob and put by Esau. See, he didn't want Esau, right? He created him for another purpose. And so Jacob became a great multitude. And it came to pass, 17, and it came to pass that when thou leadest his seed out of Egypt, thou broughtest them up to Mount Sinai. 18. And bowing the heavens, thou didst set fast the earth, movest the whole world, and madest the depths to tremble, and tremblest the men of that age. So when he did the flood, he separated the continents to that degree where now you have a separation of various land masses, where you have a separation of Africa, as they call it. That, I mean, it was the land of Ham before, you know, Chaldee, Chittim, what you want to say, but it was it was not Africa. But when he separated the land mass of when the flood came, this is what you had as a representation of that afterwards, right? Should I get my water here? Water. Okay, all right. Going back. All right, now I'm at 19. All right. And thy glory went through 4 gates of fire. Now the 4 gates we were talking about, they're the 4 winds in the earth, right? And those 4 gates where the 4 angels stand, and those gates of fire would be where the fire of creation goes through that level, right? And the fire and the earthquake and the wind and the cold that thou mightest give the law unto the seed of Jacob, and diligence unto the generations of Israel. Okay, it's very important to understand that, right? Okay, and yet tookest thou not away from them a wicked heart. See, so all this time they still didn't Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi still didn't remove the fallen nature that Adam and the rest of the generations are involved in what we're in right now. That was not removed, but it will be removed when we go into the new kingdom, the new covenant. No fallen nature activity is going in that area. Okay, he said, all right, he says, and yet tookest thou not away from them a wicked heart, that thy law might bring forth fruit in them. For the first Adam bearing a wicked heart transgressed and was overcome, and so be all they that are born of him. Thus infirmity was made permanent, and the law also is in the heart of the people with the malignity of the root. Now, what is a malignant? Malignity is when something is growing, and it's growing in a fashion that is perpetuating more damage, more evil, something that is more disease or disruptive. When someone is told to have a malignancy and a cancer or something, that means it's growing in a bad way, not a good way. Okay, so that malignancy is that of the root, so that the good departed away and the evil abode still. So the times passed away and the years were brought to an end. Then didst thou raise thee up a servant called David, a man after the Most High Yahweh's heart. Okay, there you have it. Whom thou commandest to build the city unto thy name, and to offer incense and oblations unto therein. When this was done many years, then they that inhabited the city forsook thee. So they still forsook the Most High, even though the David had fallen and did some things. There's still a fallen state going on here. You got to remember that. And even though there are some righteous things that are being done that the Most High is willing to accept, still the nature of the overall process is still a very fallen state. Okay? All right. We're getting close to finishing up, and then we're going to move forward on chapter 5. 26. And in all the things did even as Adam and all his generations had done, for they also had a wicked heart. See? Fallen state. And so thou gavest thy city over to the hands of thine enemy. Are their deeds then any better than the inhabitants of Babylon? See, this is what the Most High is asking us right now. The way we operate here in this period of time, our deeds are Babylonish, because that's the way we've been trained up through Esau, which the Most High is allowing, because he's filtering out those that he has to eliminate on this side before he brings back the new covenant and the new kingdom. His prophecies have to be fulfilled exactly the way he said, and all those that have been predestined to follow and be in a certain point in time, in a certain lot, that's where they're going to be. Okay? All right, 28. And their deeds then any better than the inhabitants of Babylon, and that should therefore have the dominion of over Shalaki. Are their deeds then any better than that inhabited Babylon, where you are, that they should therefore have the dominion over Zion? For when I came thither and had seen impieties, wicked stuff, right, without number, then my soul saw many evildoers in this 13th year, so that my heart failed me. For I have seen how thou sufferest them sinning, and hast spared wicked doers. See, you've even spared wicked doers. You always ask, why is Esau getting away with all this? Why does so much wickedness go down and nothing's being stopped? But Yasharallah is definitely being punished, because he expects more from us, because he gave us the truth. He didn't give it to them. And hast destroyed thy people, and hast preserved thine enemies, and hast not signified it. Right? 31. I do not remember how this may be left. Are they then of Babylon better than they of Zion? Question. No. Or is there any other people that knoweth thee beside Israel? Question. Or what generation hath so believe thy covenants as Jacob. And yet, so you could tell he only gave us the word and the truth. He didn't give it to anybody else. So clearly that tells you right there. And yet their reward appeareth, shalaki. And yet their reward appeareth not, and their labor hath no fruit. For I have gone here and there through the heathen, and I see that they flow in wealth, which they do, and think not upon the commandments. See, because they think their kingdom's going to go forever, and it's not. But that's what their thought process is. Weigh thou therefore our wickedness now in the balance. See, Most High going to balance everything out. Nothing's going to be unbalanced, so no wickedness is transitioning over to the new covenant. And there's also that dwell in the world, and so shall thy name nowhere be found but in Israel. Right? Or when was it that they which dwell upon the earth have not sinned in thy sight? Or what people have so kept thy commandments? Thou shalt find that Israel by name hath kept thy precepts, but not the heathen. So there you go. That's 3 that tells you right now, this is the state of where we are and what we're going through. And this is where the process is going through with the Most High and his prophecy. Now, what I'm going to do is, again, like I said, these are a lot of the similitudes that you heard and you saw in here were being brought forth in terms of the state of Israel and Yasharalah's situation going forth in prophecy. So we now need to continue going on, understanding the signs, where we are at this time, and how things are moving forward for the occupy until Yahawashi comes. All right, we're going to 2nd Ezra chapter 5, starting at 5. All right. Now concerning the signs, behold, the days are come when those who dwell upon the earth shall be seized with great terror, shalaki, seized with great terror. And the way of truth shall be hidden, and the land shall be barren of faith, and unrighteousness shall be increased beyond what you yourself see. And you're seeing the uptick in that situation becoming very apparent right now. That's what we're dealing with, okay? So let's definitely give validation to that. All praises to Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi. Okay. All right. It says we never seen, right? All right. And the way of truth shall be hidden, and the land shall be barren, and the unrighteousness shall be increased beyond what you yourself see, and beyond what you heard of formerly. And the land which you now see ruling shall be waste and trodden, and the men shall see it desolate. But if the Most High grants that you live, you shall see it thrown into confusion after the 3rd period. You hear that? So that 3rd period is coming right now. That's that what? First World War, first woe, second woe, third woe. Okay, here we go, right? And the sun shall suddenly shine forth at night, and the moon during the day. Blood shall drip from wood, and the stone shall utter its voice. The peoples shall be troubled, and the stars shall fall. Verse 6. And one shall reign whom those who dwell on earth do not expect, and the birds shall fly away again. Was it Biden? We didn't expect that, right? But what can you say? And the sea of Sodom shall cast up fish, and one whom the many do not know shall make his voice heard by night. Yahawashi, and all shall hear his voice. See, that's that voice. That's what I said. This is bringing us into the image of the voice that I talked to you about, and we're going to hit scripture to that as well, as long as we get through, this in time, right? There shall be a chaos also in many places, and fire shall often break out. And the wild beasts shall roam beyond their haunts, and minstrous women shall bring forth monsters. We see this happening right now. You can't tell me you're not right in the midst of this prophecy. And this is what Yahweh's doing. The Most High's doing this. That's who's doing this, y'all. Okay? And salt water shall be found in the sweet, and all friends shall conquer one another, and then shall reason hide itself, and wisdom shall withdraw into its chamber. And it shall be sought by many, but shall not be found, and righteousness and unrestraint shall increase on the earth. And one country shall ask its neighbor, has righteousness or anyone who does right pass through you? And it will answer, no. And at that time men shall hope, but not obtain. They shall labor, but their ways shall not prosper. These are the signs which I am permitted to tell you. And if you pray again and weep as you do now and fast for 7 days, you shall hear yet greater things than these. Now, do we do that? Do the prophets and the brothers in the Yasharallah, do they weep? Maybe. I don't know. Do they fast? Yeah, I'm sure they do. Do they do it for 7 days? Do they pray? Do they praise? I don't know. That's something that we have to consider, because we don't really know if that's exactly what's going on. You know what I mean? So we got to take that into consideration. All right? All right, now we're going to go into the conclusion of the vision. That's 14. Then I woke, and my body shuddered violently, and my soul was so troubled that it fainted. But the angel who had come and talked with me held me and strengthened me and set me on my feet. Okay? So that's what happened at that point in time. The angel came and he strengthened Ezra and set him on his feet, right? Now, 16. All right, now this is where, it says, now on the second night, Pathiel. Now, what does Pathiel mean? Pathiel is Yahweh has delivered. That's what Patlat, P-A-L-A-T, right? Patlat. Okay, Pathiel, a chief of the people, came to me and said, where have you been? And why is your face sad? Or do you not know that Israel has been entrusted to you in the land of their exile? Rise, therefore, and eat some bread, so that you may not forsake us, like a shepherd who leaves his flock in the power of the cruel wolves. So when you're eating that bread, that means you're eating that truth. You're bringing forth the truth that you can give to the sheep so that you can feed them, so that they won't be in the power of the cruel wolves. So this is what we're doing now, and this is what I'm bringing to you. I'm bringing you some very rich sheep food. This is like the cream of the crop of the sheep food that you want. This is something that is helping to teach you to understand where you should be walking and how you should be following the mission that the Most High and you agreed upon in the spirit world before you were brought here. I don't know how many times. But at the bottom line is, now is the mission upon finishing. Now, anyone who, let's just say, passes away at this particular time, I'm just using this as an example. Do I know for sure? But my estimation and my understanding is of the Ruach HaKodesh that this would be the case, mainly because we're at end of prophecy. So if you transition home to the spirit world at this time, is he going to send you back here again? He could, but why would that be possible? Why would that be necessary when we're coming to the end? So if someone is going out of this dispensational period, right? If they're going out, then at this point in time, what we're talking about is they're not coming back, because we're at the end of the prophetic process, not at the beginning, or not at a time where there's so much more time left. So that's why I wanted to say that, okay? All right, to get that out. 19. Then I said to him, depart from me and do not come near me for 7 days, and then you may come to me. So the 7-day period is a cleansing period that you have to adhere to for Yahawah BaHaShem YAHAWASHI. And that's important that we remember that, right? All right, now, okay. We're going to finish on 19. He heard what I said and left me. 20. So I fasted 7 days, mourning and weeping, as Uriel. Okay, Uriel means, that's an angel. Yahweh is my light. Okay, Uriel, all right? The angel had commanded me, okay? Ezra's second prayer. Ezra's second prayer of complaint, right? 21. And after 7 days, the thoughts of my heart were very grievous to me. Again, Then my soul recovered the spirit of understanding, and I began once more to speak words in the presence of the Most High. Okay? And I said, O sovereign Lord, from every forest of the earth and from all its trees, all the people, right? Thou hast chosen one. See, he's chosen one vine. And from all the lands of the world, thou hast chosen for thyself one region. And from all the flowers of the world, thou hast chosen for thyself lily, right? And from all the depths of the sea, thou hast filled for thyself one river. And from all the cities that have been built, thou hast consecrated Zion for thyself. And from all the birds that have been created, thou hast named for thyself one dove. And from all the flocks that have been made, thou hast provided for thyself one sheep. See, he's showing you clearly that he's making distinct choices in reference to who he said he is going to bless, keep, and who will be named specifically his and none else. 27, and from all other multitudes of people, thou hast gotten for thyself one people, one chosen people. So all this religious practitioner conversation and crap that everyone can be saved and you could choose the Most High, none of that will work, because none of that is true. That's why I said you got to do your diligence in this, right? Okay, who he decides he made for that purpose, he made for that purpose. Who he decided already predestined that he chose for that purpose, and that's it. All right, all right. Whom he has, thyself one people. And to this people whom thou hast loved, thou hast given the law which is approved by all. And now, O Lord, why hast thou given over the one to many, and dishonored the one root beyond the others, and scattered thine only one among the many? Because we went wicked, and we decided that we felt like we lost track of who we were supposed to be and who we are, and then we were easily swayed by the fall that happened, when that nature of the fall permeated and just went like poosh, and all over the earthly plane. We were out. We were bugged out. Okay, all right. And those who oppose thy promises have trodden down those who believe thy covenants. If thou dost really hate thy people, they should be punished at thy own hand. Now, when the Most High talks about thy people, there's so many scriptures in the Bible that back up this and validate it. I mean, you can already start in the beginning from Deuteronomy chapter 7, 6 through 8. You can start from Deuteronomy chapter 14, 2. You can go to Exodus 19, 5. You can go to 1 Kings 8:53. This is all talking about he chose a specific people. You got 1 Kings 10, 9. You got Psalms 105, 8 through 15, and also 135, verse 4. I can go on and on. Isaiah 43, 1 through 3, 44, 2 through 1. Jeremiah 31, 1 through 4, 9, Jeremiah 9, 31, 9 through 11. Jeremiah 46, right? 27, 28, yeah. Ezekiel 36, right? What was it? 24 through 28. And Ezekiel 37, 21 through 25. See, this is all the verses, all in the Bible, all in the volume of the book, saying he only chose one people. New Testament, Joel, 3, 1 and 2, Amos 3, 1 and 2. So you got all these places where there's only one people chosen. So you got to react to that. Okay, let's go to, we'll finish 2nd Ezra. Now we're going to talk about the response to Ezra's complaint, okay, from the angel of the Lord, Yahawah BaHaSham YAHAWASHI, okay? All right, verse 31. Now, when I had spoken these words, the angel that came to me that night afore was sent unto me, and said unto me, hear me, and I will instruct thee. Hearken to the thing that I say, and I shall tell thee more. Okay, so now Yahawah BaHaSham YAHAWASHI, angel of the Lord, is going to give Ezra some information, all right? Because he obviously is asking me, and he must be righteous enough to obtain it, okay? All right. And I said, speak on, my Lord, right? Then said unto me, thou art sore troubled in mind for Israel's sake. Lovest thou that people better than he that made them? See, we in this truth cannot love the people more than the Most High does. Let's make sure we get that straight and not get it twisted. And I said, no, Lord, but very grief have I spoken, for many ruins pain me every hour, while I labor to comprehend the way of the Most High. Now, you could labor to comprehend the way of the Most High, but it doesn't mean you're going to actually know his way completely, because no one knows the mind of Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi completely. You only know what he allows you to know at the metabolism level that you've been created to understand. And that's it, right? Okay. And to seek out part of his judgment, all right? And he said unto me, thou canst not. He said, thou canst not. In other words, you can't do it, right? Okay. All right. Thou canst not. And I said, wherefore, Lord, question, and whereunto was I born then? Or why was I not in my mother's womb then my grave, that I might not have seen the travail of Jacob and the wearisome toil of the stock of Israel? These are his questions. He's asking some good questions. It's okay to ask good questions, because how else can you learn? And it says, if you get a question, be ready to give an answer. Now, do you determine who gets to ask a question? Who the hell are you? Are you Yahawashi? Are you the angel of the Lord? He's allowing questions to be asked of him. So why can't you ask a question and be ready to give an answer? If you don't have an answer, then you're going to give up something that would be a rejection, or you're going to be arrogant or prideful, and you're going to come back and not give an answer. You need to check yourself, because you are wrecking yourself. I'm telling you, you need to do what, if you're going to be like Yahushua and do what he do and have the mindset of the Mashiach, then you need to go ahead and answer a question if it's a valid question that needs to be answered. Be ready to give an answer, okay? All right. Was I born then, right? Or why was I not in mother's womb? Okay, that I might have not seen the travail, right? Okay, we did it. At 36, and he said unto me, number me the things that are not yet come, since you think you know everything, right? Gather me together the drops that are scattered abroad. That's the children, right, of Israel scattered. Make me the flowers green again that are withered. Open me the places that are closed, like the tree of life is closed off from the garden from us, right? That are closed. And bring me forth the winds that in them are shut up. Show me the image of a voice. That's what I said in my thing, in my topic here in terms of the title, right? I said, can we operate within the right spiritual and scriptural framework of the similitudes given by the image of the voice? I'll read that one again. He said here, all right? He said, show me the image of a voice, and then I will declare to thee the thing that thou laborest to know. Now, if you're going to show someone the image of a voice, what are you saying? Does a voice have an image, and does an image have a voice? Meaning there has to be some kind of theopoly that can present or project a sound that you can hear, which would be a voice, right? Or what presence would have a voice? See, so that's important, because he's almost asking, can he see Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi? Right? But, that's what he's saying. I'm just saying, okay, 38. And I said, O Lord, that bearest rule, who may know these things but he that hath not his dwelling with men? As for me, I am unwise. How may I then speak of these things whereof thou askest me? So, in other words, you don't know everything. And you're only going to know things that he's going to allow you to know at the time you're supposed to know them. And then you will know them better as things go forward. Okay? All right? Moving on, 40. Then said he unto me, like as thou canst do none of these things that I have spoken of, even so canst thou not find out my people. So, that's important. 41. Okay, so now we're going to talk about why successive generations have been created. And this is going to also translate and give information about what he plans to do and what he can do. And you can't, and he doesn't need you to do anything because he can do it all on his own. All right? If he wants to use you in some participating fashion, he will. But he doesn't need you to bring everybody back. He can do it. Okay, we're going to get to that. 41. And I said, behold, O Lord, art thou near unto them that be reserved till the end? And of course he's near unto them because he predestined them to be in a position that he is near unto them. Okay, all right, the end. And what shall they do that have been before me? All right, or we that be now. So he's clearly telling you there was some that were predestined who were before you, and they had to perform a certain goal and process. And now what the ones that are right now are still doing what is to come, because he's regenerated these spirits in these individuals. Or they that shall come after us, right? Which is those that will proceed in the new covenant, all right? Now, and he said unto me, I will liken my judgment unto a ring. Now, what is a ring? A ring that a king has is a measure of authority, but also a way to create a form of communication and a form of, like if I take an insignia on the ring, if you take the ring and the insignia, right, and you go ahead and you press it to seal something. The kings used to seal on a piece of clay, on a letter or on a message, and they would show that insignia. They would press that ring on there. So that's a form of authority to say this is what we're going to do, right? Or what I want to be ordained or done. Okay. He said, judgment unto a ring, like as there is no slackness of the last. In other words, see, the latter rain, things are happening exactly the way the Most High said in prophecy. There's nothing being slack. It's rolling forward, and it will. Okay. Even so, there is no swiftness of the first. In other words, we used to call somebody Swifty back in the day because you thought you were so smart and so cool. Hey, Swifty, come here, let me talk to you. You always got some swagger or some stuff going on. Yeah, no swiftness of the first. So you're not going to surpass or get out in front of the Most High and bring something out or say something or do something that he's not in control of. Okay, now here's 43. This is, we're going to bring in some clarity on some things about how the Most High can do whatever he wants with his creation, and he don't need you to do it. Okay, it says here, so I answered and said, couldest thou not make those that have been made? Couldest thou not make those that have been made and be now, and that are for to come at once? Okay, now let me break it down again, but use how it's here. Okay, so he answered and said, comma, couldest thou not make those that have been made, comma, and be now, comma, and that are for to come, comma, at once, semicolon. So that tells you right there, the Most High could do what he wants. Just like I said with Yahawashi. He took him through 3 different levels of regeneration with his body, his spirit, his soul, and everything else. And at the time when he did it all at once. Okay, now what? Answer, all right? Then he answered me and said, okay, at once, that thou mightest show thy judgment sooner. So he could do that and show whatever judgment level he wants to, anytime he wants to. 44. Then answered he me and said, the creature may not haste above the maker. Whoa, wait a minute. The creature may not haste above the creator. So when you asking for the Lord, the day of the Lord to hurry up and come, it's gloom and doom, and there's some stuff coming that we ain't even close to being ready for. I know I fear Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi to the point where Oh, Father, I'm just right. If I forgot, let me get right to it right now. Please forgive me if I've said or done anything to offend you or the kingdom, Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi, Baba Kashah, Abba Yahweh, the water, Baba Kashah, Hala YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. I repent if I've said anything to offend you, the kingdom, or any of the members of the kingdom that are under your jurisdiction. Please forgive me, Father, because I know you ain't playing. I fear him. Are you kidding me? Then he answered and then he answered me, and said, the creature, us, may not haste above the maker, semicolon. You can't haste above the maker. This is what the word says. I don't care what man says. You listen to what Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi said. He said the creature may not haste above the maker, neither may the world hold them at once that shall be created therein. In other words, you can't have everyone at this time all here, because he has a dispensation period, a time period for all that has to be here during the prophetic process moving forward. 45, and I said, as thou hast said unto thy servant, that thou which givest life to all, hast given life at once to the creature that thou hast created, and the creature bare it, even so it might now also bear them that now present at once. Fire. 46, and he said unto me, ask the womb of a woman, and say unto her, if thou bringest forth children, why dost thou it not together, but one after another? Question. In other words, why don't you just bring them all? Like Esau come up with wicked stuff, like he tried to have 8 with artificial insemination and all kinds of adding chemicals to you to see if you can have more than 4 or 5 babies at one time, or 6 or 7 babies at one time. Hey, the Most High made Eve with 2 breasts. For you, maybe 2 babies is good. You got 1 for each one. When back then you didn't have a whole lot of bottles and a lot of stuff that you can go feeding all these children at one time when you have them coming out. And when they do come out, they be real small. If you got 8, like you having a litter of puppies or something, like you having a whole bunch of litter like an animal. No, he 2 at a time, man. He ain't doing it that way, right? Okay, he's balanced. He's balanced, people. Okay, all right, all right. All right. Pray, but one after another. Question. Pray her, therefore, to bring forth 10 children at once. You ain't doing that here. Now, you don't know what he's going to do in the new covenant. He may, in the new covenant, allow the bodies to operate in a fashion where one woman could bring 10 at once. We don't know. He's saying this here. Pray that, okay? But we don't know. 47. And I said, she cannot. He said she cannot, but must do it by distance of time. Okay, 48. Then said he unto me, even so have I given the womb of the earth to those that be sown in it in their times. 49. For like as a young child may not bring forth the things that belong to an aged adult, even so have I disposed the world which I created. All right. And okay, now this is like when and how will the end come, right? We're coming into that point here. And I asked and said, seeing thou hast given me the way, I will proceed to speak before thee, for our mother, of whom thou hast told me that she is young, draweth now near unto age, the earth, right? Talking about the earth. He answered me and said, ask a woman that beareth children, and she shall tell thee. Say unto her, wherefore are unto they whom thou hast now brought forth like those that were before, but less of stature. See, so what he's telling you here is that as you have children younger, they're stronger. But if you have children when you're older, they're supposedly not as strong. Okay, so that's different. So the ones of old, even back then, they lived longer. They didn't have the pollutants and the crap and the things that we had to deal with. So naturally, it was more healthy and advantageous for them to live longer and be stronger. Okay, and she said, answer thee, they that be born in the strength of the youth are, see, of one fashion, and they that are born in the time of age, when the womb faileth, are otherwise. 54. Consider thou therefore also how that ye are less of stature than those that were before you. See, that's what I was saying. Back then, the prophets and the patriarchs and those forefathers were stronger than us because of not so much corruption and pollution here right at the time. It was bad, but it wasn't as bad as it is right now. And so are they that come after you less than ye, as the creatures which now begin to be old and have passed over the strength of youth. 56. Then said I, Lord, I beseech thee, if I have found favor in thy sight, show thy servant by whom thou visitest thy creature. Now, don't go past this statement of, if I have found favor in thy sight. How many of us actually ask in our prayer if we have found favor in the sight of Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi? That's extremely important in terms of how you communicate with Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi. Do you ask if you have found favor in your repentance before you approach him? It always says in scripture, you've got to repent before you even approach his presence, because you can't even get an answer if you're not repentant. You need to check that. Chapter 6. Now we're getting into 6 now. And he said unto me, in the beginning, when the earth was made, before the borders of the world stood, and ever the winds blew, before it thundered and lightning, or ever the foundations of paradise were laid, and before the fair flowers were seen, or ever the movable powers were established, before the innumerable multitude of angels were gathered together, or ever the heights of the air were lifted up, and before the measures of the firmament were named, or ever the chimneys in Zion were hot. What does that mean, chimneys in Zion were hot? That means the formation of us as entities that will be created. We were Zion, and those chimneys were steaming or storming while the Yahawashi and the angels were creating the creation of the entities that we call humans. Okay, just clarification. We're hot. 5. And ere the present years were sought out, and or ever the inventions of them that now sin were turned, before there were sealed that have gathered faith for a treasure. Don't go past that. Before they were sealed. So they had to be sealed before the earth was set up and made to gather faith. You can't gather faith as a treasure. Your treasure is what? Built up and saved in heaven, not on earth. So you can't build up through faith any treasure if you hadn't already been sealed. Whoa. Do you get that? Okay? All right. Then 6. Then I considered these things, and they all were made through me alone, Yahawashi, and through none other. By me also they shall be ended, and by none other. Being ended by Yahawashi through the power of Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi, which means Yahweh is ending this, right? Because he said, when I make the earth and all your footstool, he's going to take down all rule and make roughly paraphrased, okay? 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the time? See, this is the scripture and the precept that all the Akim brothers and Yasharallah who bringing out the truth bring out to you to let you know. This is true, and this is how it gets down. Then answered and I said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times, or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Now, I love it when it says that, but give me the next precept that comes after that, because you get to explain some of the issues that are going on right now that people try to say Esau got some kind of power that's going on that isn't under the confines and control of the Most High. Wrong. He's a complete puppet. He's under control. Okay, let's bring it out. Verse 10, right? It says, the hand of man is betwixt the heel and the hand. What is betwixt? Okay, let's break it down. To be betwixt means there's a form of confusion. Okay? Why? What is the confusion? The confusion is Esau's been allowed to take our identities and all of who we are and not show that we are the people that are chosen. That convince those people who are the chosen people that they're not the people. Twist up the whole world and the language and get a hold of our scriptures, our book, our holy thing, write himself in it, put himself in a position, and because he knows he wants to try to get back a birthright that doesn't belong to him. And he promulgates and propagates that Jacob is a thief and he stole the birthright. And so he does this betwixting by trying to tell you that, he's Jacob, but we're a thief and that we stole it, but then, he's Jacob. So, he's betwixting. Okay, that's why it says the hand of man is betwixt the heel and the hand. Okay, other question, Ezra, ask thou not. So now Bahashem Yahawashi is cutting him off. And I answered then and I said, O Lord, that bearest rule, if I have found favor. There we go again. He's always asking if he's found favor. You gotta ask that. What's wrong with you people? Okay? In thy sight, I beseech thee, show thy servant the end of thy tokens. What is a token? Tokens. A token is giving something a little extra. You want something extra other than what you got. That's what a token of my esteem, a token of appreciation. So you're asking for a little something extra. Tokens, whereof thou showest me part the last night. In other words, in a vision, the Most High comes and talks and speaks to us through visions and dreams, right? Primarily methodology all through his scripture, right? All right. Okay. He said, well, Shalaki, okay. All right. And answering on the Lord's bears to have found favor, right? It's like servant in tokens, whereof show us the part last night. So he answered and said unto me, stand up upon thy feet and hear a mighty sounding voice. There it is again. The image of the voice. All right. And it shall be as it were a great motion. But there it is, that moving of the earth. But the place where thou standest shall not be moved. And therefore, when it speaketh, be not afraid, for the word is of the end. The foundation of the earth is understood. And why? Because the speech of these things trembleth and is moved. Who's it trembling? It's trembling the wicked in this world who are doing what? Following the prophetic process that Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi put forward. Okay? That's the trembling they're going through. It's taking them down. Is moved. For it knoweth that the end of these things must be changed. 17. And it happened that when I had heard it, I stood upon my feet and hearkened, and behold, there was a voice that spake, and the sound of it was like the sound of many waters. You know that's Yahawashi, because it says in Revelation that's what he sounds like when he speaks. At 18, and it said, behold, the days come that I will begin to draw near and visit them that dwell upon the earth, and will bring and begin to dwell upon them that dwell upon the earth, and will begin to make inquisition of them, what they be that have hurt unjustly with their unrighteousness, and when the affliction of Zion shall be fulfilled. 20. And when the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished, then will I show these tokens. Those are the extra things, which I said before. He's going to be bringing out more information as he's doing with you right now in this teaching, which you will hear if the Most High provides the time. You're going to hear. There's information that is part of everything in prophecy that's to happen, but you have to go and search it out. The word scripture says, what do kings do? They search out the truth. That's roughly paraphrased, but it's scriptural. Okay? All right? Okay, here we go. All right? And then the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished. Then will I show these tokens. The books shall be opened before the firmament, and they shall see all together. And the children of a year old shall speak with their voices, and women with a child shall bring forth untimely children of 3 to 4 months old, and they shall live and be raised up. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, and the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. But let me not walk past the thing about it says, and the women shall bring forth children 3 or 4 months old, and they shall live. See, we're talking about the Most High can do whatever he wants with his creation in terms of how he can determine whether or not he wants to raise them at a stronger level or a lower level or more or less. He controls all of that. Okay. All right. Now we're going to 24. No, 23. And the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. You're hearing this trumpet now. This is what the Akim, the Yasharallah, the prophets, and the apostles are bringing out. That's the trumpet, okay? That you're hearing the sound, which every man shall hear and shall be suddenly afraid. And they are afraid because they can't handle this truth, right? At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear whose those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountain shall stand still, and their hours they shall not run. So you're going to be dealing with a whole lot of thirsty people, right? More whosoever remaineth from all these that I have told thee shall escape and see my salvation and the end of your world. Now, those are the predestined people who will stand in this. Those that are not predestined will not. Okay? And the men that are received shall see it, who have not tasted death from their birth, and the heart of the inhabitants, okay, shall be changed and turned into another meaning. For evil shall be, and the other meaning will be a righteousness that will be beyond what you can imagine, right? And for evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. As for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome, and the truth which has been so long without fruit shall be declared. Which means none of this shit that's in this wicked kingdom is going over to there. So get it out of your mind and stop saying that. Okay? All right. And when he talked with me, behold, I looked by little and little upon him before whom I stood. And these words said he unto me, I am come to show thee the time of the night to come. And if thou wilt pray yet more and fast 7 days, there it is again, I shall tell thee greater things by day than I have heard. See, you're going to get more information now. Okay, more knowledge, right? Which you're getting now. For thy voice is heard before the Most High. For the mighty hath seen thy righteous dealing, and hath seen also thy chastity, which thou hast had ever since thy youth. And therefore hath he sent me to show thee all these things, and to say unto thee, be of good comfort, and fear not, and hasten not with the times that are past. There it is again. Hasten not with the times that are past, to think vain things, that thou mayest not hasten from the latter times. This is what writing apostles. Hey, okay. And it came to pass after this, I wept again and fasted 7 days in like manner, that I might fulfill the 3 weeks which he told me. And in the 8th night was my heart vexed within me again, and I began to speak before the Most High. Okay? Now, that I just wanted to finish that part on 6. And I'm going to go to 7 now and see if I can get the rest of this in, because this is important. Now, I did my research and homework on 2nd Ezra chapter 7. And Esau hides information. Now, I went to 2nd Ezra chapter 7, 75 through 101. Now, Why did he not put that in the apocryphal that they released? Because my apocrypha goes up to 70. Okay? It doesn't go to 75. Why? Why is he hiding this part? This part is important to know because people want to have these types of questions, and this is what I'm talking about in terms of the truth that will soon be revealed in so many fashions that's still coming out because all prophecy has not been fulfilled. Now, let me read this to you, and don't get bugged out because you don't have it in the apocrypha. This, you got to remember, Esau, he's messed with a lot of books. So you got to filter the truth through the books. Now, if you can't understand how to do your research and your homework to find out what he's hidden from you, then you will get bugged out. All right? So don't get in my face with no nonsense if you ain't doing your diligence and your work. And don't let no man tell you what you can't read. Ezra chapter, 2nd Ezra 7:75. State of the dead before judgment. Okay? State of the dead before judgment. 75. I answered and said, if I have found favor in your sight, see, O Lord, show this also to your servant, whether after death, as soon as every one of us yields up the soul, we shall be kept in rest until those times come when you will renew creation, or whether we shall be tormented at once. Now, this is in the scriptures that we are at rest, and he also know that if you're rejected by Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi, you're in a torment. Your mind, your spirit, you don't have a flesh body, but your spiritual creation, your entity is in torment because you've been rejected by the Most High. So open your mind and listen to the teaching here, okay? All right. Now, and he answered me and said, I will show you that also, but do not include yourself with those who have shown scorn, or number yourself among those who are tormented. For you have a treasure of works stored up with the Most High, but it will not be shown to you until the last times. 78. Now concerning death, the teaching is, when the decisive decree has gone out from the Most High that a person shall die, as the spirit leaves the body to return again to him who gave it. See, it's scriptural, right? Who gave it. First of all, it adores the glory of the Most High, which is true. If it is one of those who have shown scorn and have not kept the way of the Most High, who have despised his law and hated those who feared Yahawah, okay? 80. Such spirits shall not enter into habitations, but shall immediately wander about in torments, always grieving and sad in 7 ways. Now, it doesn't say nothing about no damn lake of fire, because you ain't burning no spiritual entity. But it's talking about that consciousness in the spirit that will be in torment. Now, let's talk about the 7 ways, okay? Grieving sad in 7 ways. The first way, because they have scorned the law of the Most High. The second way, because they cannot now make a good repentance, which you know, right? So that they may live. The third way, they shall see the reward laid up for those who have trusted the covenants of the Most High. Now, you remember that in when they talked about in Luke chapter 16, when the rich man looked up and saw that Lazarus was in the bosom of Abraham, and he could see that he was being taken care of in a just way, but he wasn't. So that the parable told you the same thing here. Got to understand these similitudes, right? All right. The fourth way, they shall consider the torment laid up for themselves in the last days. In other words, they're rejected. That's your torment. You've been rejected, okay? The fifth way, they shall see how the inhabitants of the others are guarded by angels in profound quiet. See, that's the point of rest that we talk about in the scriptures. You'll be at rest. But you're getting more information, more clarity here that Esau hid from your ass, okay? The sixth way, they shall see how some of them will cross over into torments. Remember that gulf, that great gulf between the righteous and the unrighteous? You're seeing that how they cross over in there. The seventh way, which is worse than all the ways that have been mentioned, because they shall utterly waste away in confusion and consume with shame and shall wither with fear. So this is the torment that the spiritual entity that the Most High created, because he rejected them, because they rejected him, is what they're going through. It says they're going to be in confusion, shall utterly waste away in confusion and be consumed with shame, right? And shall wither with fear at seeing the glory of the Most High, in whose presence they sinned while they were alive. How do you wither with fear? Man, if something drops to you, you're like, what was that? Oh no, what was that? Oh, it was a feather, it dropped. You're withered with fear. You have no rest. Okay? It says, whose presence they sinned while they were alive, and in whose presence they are to be judged in the last times. If you're set in eternity to go through confusion and be consumed with shame for eternity and withered with fear for eternity, that is hell. That's worse than a lake of fire for you. You see what I'm saying? That's and you get to see, you can see who was righteous and what happens. Okay, so that's what happens when that period of point. But no one talks about that. No one teaches on that. What's wrong with you? You're not studying enough? Show thyself approved, a workman who can rightly divide the word. If you can't rightly divide it, you're going to wrongly divide it. You got to get with it, okay? Now, this is the order of those who have kept the ways of the Most High, okay? What was that? 68, right? Okay, here we go. Most High. And when they shall be separated from their mortal body, 89, during the time that they lived in it, they laboriously served the Most High and withstood danger every hour, so that they might keep the law of the lawgiver perfectly. So this is what you see happening. Therefore, this is the teaching concerning them. First of all, they shall see with great joy and glory of him who receives them, for they shall have rest in 7 orders. There's your rest, okay? The first order, because they have striven with great effort to overcome the evil thought that was formed with them, so that it might not lead them astray from life into death. The second order, because they see the perplexity in which the souls of the ungodly wander and the punishment that awaits them. So you get, if the wicked get to see you, you get to see them going through that, right? The third order, they see the witness that he who formed them bears concerning them, comma, that throughout their life they kept the law with which they were entrusted. 95. The fourth order, they understand and rest that they now enjoy, being gathered into their chambers and guarded by the angels in profound quiet, and the glory awaiting for them in the last days. The fifth order, they rejoice that they have now escaped what is corruptible and shall inherit what is to come. Semicolon. And besides, they see the straits and toil from which they have been delivered, and the spacious liberty that they are to receive and enjoy in immortality. The sixth order, when it is shown them how their face is to shine like the sun. See, we talked about that, about how we'd be like him when he arrives, right? When we see him, and how they are to be made like the light of Yahawashi, of the stars, being incorruptible. From then on, the seventh order, which is the greater than all that have been mentioned, because they shall rejoice with boldness and shall be confident without confusion. See, none of that other stuff applies to you. And shall be glad without fear, for they press forward to see the face of him who they served in life, and from whom they are to receive their reward, right, their crowns, when glorified. This is the order of the souls of the righteous, as henceforth is announced. And the previously mentioned are the ways of torment that those who would not give heed shall suffer hereafter. Then I answered and said, will time therefore be given to the souls after they have been separated from the bodies to see what you have described to me. And he said to me, they shall have freedom for 7 days, so that during these 7 days they may see the things of which you have been told, and afterwards they shall be gathered in their habitations. Hala YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI BAHASHAM Wakakodash. All praises to the Most High Yahweh for the revelation in letting us get into the understanding and the deeper study of the truth in your word. I always look forward to bring you this information. I am the Most High servant, Obadiah Yahweh Canaan, and I just really love the Most High so much for allowing me to be privy to this understanding. He is very selective about who he decides to give additional information that is up further in the spectrum of revelation, knowledge, and prophecy. It is so very humbling to be able to offer this. I have been praying and worshiping and praising and fasting as best I can to ask for more revelation of things that have been hidden from us, so that he will allow me to bring you, the sheep, this level of nourishment, this level of knowledge that is not often given. As I try to move forward in teaching about the fact that we're supposed to be doing the law, not just knowing about it. I pray that this lesson was fruitful and beneficial to you, and look forward to whenever the Most High decides to bring out some more. I don't control it. He controls it and how he does it. Stay diligent. Keep following the brethren and those who are accurate in the truth, and pray that they and worship and pray that they get the revelation to bring forth new things that the Most High wants to bring out as well. I know this lesson was long, and if you hang through it and stay through it, then you are truly a diligent servant of the Most High, Yahawah BaHaSham YAHAWASHI, trying to study to show yourself approved, because that's what we're supposed to be doing while we're here. He's in control of everything. Remember that, y'all. Everything that's going on, all the facets and enchantments and everything that's going down, he's puppetizing them through Esau. Just remember that. And when he show up, I think he'll be extremely proud of you for being diligent to his word, his as I said, the image of his voice. So until next time, shalom.